Hello, I'm doing a movie review, and the movie I want to review is a film that I actually saw last night, or technically this morning, because I went to the midnight showing of this movie, but the movie I want to review is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Now, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a sequel to the 2011 science fiction film Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which was a prequel slash reboot to the Planet of the Apes franchise. Now, the film is directed by Matt Reeves, who before this directed Cloverfield, and he directed the movie Let Me In, which was the American version of Let the Right One In. Now, Rise of the Planet of the Apes was essentially a loose remake of the film Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which was the fourth film of the original Planet of the Apes series. This film is actually kind of a loose remake of the film Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which was the fifth film of the original Planet of the Apes series. However, I will say this one is definitely better than that movie, because Battle for the Planet of the Apes was definitely the weakest out of the original Planet of the Apes series. Now, I'm gonna briefly explain the plot line to Rise of the Planet of the Apes in order to explain the plot of this movie, but in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, you had a character named Will, who was played by James Franco in that movie, who was a scientist, and he was trying to find a cure for Alzheimer's disease, and he created a virus which could possibly fight the disease, and the virus ended up making apes more intelligent and given apes like near human intelligence, but unfortunately the virus ended up being deadly to humans. Now, the plot line of the film is, it begins following the apes 10 years after the events of the previous movie, and you realize that Caesar has now pretty much set up a city, pretty much, of apes in the woods, and, like, they've built houses out of wood and stuff, like tree houses, and now they're living in the woods as a tribe, pretty much, and Caesar is their leader, and they've been living in peace for 10 years now. But what happens is, in the beginning of the movie, Caesar's son, Caesar actually has a son in this movie, Caesar's son and his friend, who's an ape named Ash, they're wandering through the woods, and they run into a human character who shoots Ash out of fear, and then the other human characters join him, and then the apes come, and basically now, because of this, they realize that there are still human survivors of this virus, and now there's a lot of distrust between the apes and these human survivors who you realize are living in a colony in what's left of San Francisco, and it turns out the reason they were there was because they need to find a way to rebuild this dam, which could possibly bring power back to what's left of San Francisco, but unfortunately, because of what this guy did, now there's a lot of distrust between them and the apes, and Caesar actually talks to them, telling them not to come back, and of course they're shocked to find out that Caesar can actually talk, but in the movie, you have this character named Malcolm who tries to convince Caesar why he needs to work on this dam. So for a while, there seems to be some trust between the human characters and the apes, but in the film there's an ape named Kobo, who's essentially the main antagonist to the movie, and he does not trust humans at all, because you realize that before the plague happened, humans kept him and did experiments on him, so now he hates all humans because of that, and basically now he's trying to instigate a war between the humans and the apes, and really that's all I want to say about the plot line of this movie, because, because it's a relatively new movie, and I want people to go out and see this. But I loved this movie. Like, I really, really freaking liked this movie a lot. And honestly, I think I even liked it better than the first one, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And I went to go see this with my friend, and my friend wasn't the biggest fan of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, but even he thought this was a really good movie. And honestly, I think this movie definitely surpassed the first one, in my opinion. And honestly, I would say this is probably, in my opinion, the best Planet of the Apes movie since maybe Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. I know that's probably a stretch, but I really, really liked this movie. And in the beginning of the movie, you get like a little prologue talking about the virus and how it wiped out the human race, or most of the human race, and it shows you like news clips of the virus, and it's actually pretty creepy because they're all done like legitimate news broadcasts, but I also liked in the beginning because, like, I want to say the first 10 minutes of the movie, you're following the apes and you're seeing how they live, and the apes, they talk to each other, but they mostly talk to each other using sign language or talking the way, I guess, apes would talk to each other. The apes do have speaking abilities, like, they can speak the way humans do, but they don't do it that often, and I like how they did it. Like, they did it very realistically in this movie. The apes don't typically talk to each other using words. They usually just talk using sign language, and I really liked that about the movie, and the film did a really, really good job at showing at making you both root for the human characters and the ape characters, which isn't anything new because it has been done in the other Planet of the Apes movies, but it was handled very well in this movie. And in the film, they focus a lot on a friendship which develops between the main character of the movie, the main human character that is, who's a man named Malcolm, and Caesar. And I actually found this friendship, that the way the movie handles this friendship between the two characters, to actually be kind of moving, and there's a lot of emotional depth to this movie as well. I really, really liked this movie. Now, when I went into this movie, I was trying to keep my expectations as low as possible. Like, I didn't watch any trailers for this movie. Well, I watched 2 trailers for this movie, and that's it, but I didn't watch any, like, clips from the movie online. I didn't watch any reviews for the movie. I really wanted to go into this movie not knowing much about it and not having my expectations too high, and honestly, I'm glad I did that because I was surprised by this movie. I mean, I kind of knew I was gonna like it because I like the guy who directed the movie, and I liked the first one, but I wasn't expecting to actually like this better than the first one. As I said, I thought this is a really, really good movie. So yeah, that's my review on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. If you get a chance to see it, definitely see it, and bye.